All right, so let's call this meeting to order. We have one agenda item, and it is just to get this mission statement done for Dan Rest.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
What's wrong with our mission statement that we have?
Right, exactly. He wanted everybody to take a look at him and update him, so.
Do you think it needs any changes?
What's on there now? I know there's some language that I liked that I found that probably isn't on that.
The Public Safety Committee shall have jurisdiction over all matters related to public safety which come before the council for action, including but not limited to police, fire, public works, adoption and abandonment of public ways, and the change of name of any public or private way.
Okay, so let's compare that list to what we came up with to see if there's anything that's missing.
The mission of the East Hampton Public Safety Subcommittee is to provide in a democratic and transparent manner coordination and oversight at the intersection of public safety and health systems. The committee's area of responsibility includes police, fire, neighborhood parks, buildings, safety engineering and environmental recreational programs, youth services, senior services, health and wellness programs, code enforcement, public works and engineering, municipal parking, public lighting, and emergency services.
So, one of the things that I really liked is, I liked the first line where it said provide in a democratic and transparent manner, coordination and oversight the intersection of public safety and health systems.
It seemed to me to be, it just strikes me that this is a lot more succinct and this is kind of wordy, and like, what does that sentence mean?
You guys see this
Yeah,
one?
so, you know what I mean? Like, there's just extra words for extra words. That's what I want to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
So as opposed, I mean, because I would say the democratic,
And transparent
piece
matter.
is, I mean, seems implicit to me as democratically elected officials and us serving on a committee. Our business would be.
Doesn't have a rule throughout all our rules, not just.
Yeah, it feels like
It
that's
should be, but I know we probably have different opinions about this, but I bumped into a lot of like transparency issues, so I think the more we can get that language in there, the better. So the mission of to provide in a democratic and transparent manner, coordination, oversight, the following colon, and then we can list.
So do you think, not to sound snarky, that it's really important for the Public Safety Committee to have that in its rules, that it's a rule of the Public Safety Committee? Or do you think it's just really important because you want to?
Well, yeah, because we provide it in a democratic and transparent manner. And it's something that I promoted on the mission statement for the property committee that I sit on as well. I'm hoping it's something that they can do throughout.
Is it in the property one?
I don't
I'm just
know.
wondering. I think they all should have been done by one group so that they all uniform.
Yeah, well, I'm
I
hoping
would've
that
liked
that
that
Dan
as
will.
well.
I'm hoping that Dan will take them all, once, and then put them into a unified format. I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Have a unified format,
Yeah.
and maybe that could be a suggestion for that, is to say, all the committees will, just as before, before each committee speaks of its role, having a little statement that says, all committees of the East Hampton City Council are committed to transparency by recording all of their meeting. I mean, because that's a rule for us.
Right.
So I mean that, I just don't feel like we necessarily at every juncture need to say yes, we're transparent, because we have a lot of places where our rules require us to be transparent. Keeping and approving minutes, videotaping all meetings.
Right.
So we have these things built in, and I don't necessarily. I think it's lip service if we just say it, and you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like maybe we have at the beginning, this is something that we're committed to as stated in our rules, and then each committee says, and our committee does this. And that's kind of how that's how I did.
Yeah, for
ordinance.
finance, we kind of set it up the way this kind of does, the 96 rule, in that it includes but isn't limited to, and then we did bullet points, and there was 5
Right.
or 6 things
Yeah.
Right.
that we regularly do. And then I went through all the agendas from this year and last year, and these are the 4 things that came up: street acceptance, pull requests, stop signs, and parking.
Mhm.
And so then not being able to go back any farther than that, I just was concerned that we were adding a lot to this that may or may not
Fall within our jurisdiction.
And that's one of the things that we talk about. I think Because what I did is I looked at public safety committees in surrounding communities and. Right, exactly. And the way that we're doing things is kind of different. So that's why I added those things to it, to provide oversight to safety engineering and environmental recreation programs, youth services, code enforcement, public works and engineering, municipal parking, public lighting, and emergency services. So I don't know.
All right, so can we go through those a little slower?
Sure.
And let me just try to think, because I believe when I first came on the council, which was like over a decade ago, one of my first committees was public safety.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to think as over the years, because I kind of like, I've always been on ordinance and I've bounced between property and public safety for the entire time.
Okay. Do you want to take them one at a time?
Yeah, and
So police.
and I know one of the things that here, let me just go back a little further than what you were able to find.
Yeah.
It was so we did looked at the issue of open containers, and so that was kind of a joint between public safety and ordinance, because there was issues of people drinking at the graveyard. We looked at public urination, and because that was an issue behind 7-Eleven, and the officers were concerned that they couldn't do anything about it without creating sex offenders. So those were a couple of things. I know.
So would code enforcement cover that for you?
Code enforcement. I think. So that means we would. Yeah, I mean code enforcement, or.
I wasn't sure.
So
The first thing I thought of was our code, and then I thought.
Right. So, but I imagine that you're thinking health code.
Mhm.
So I think like I don't know if we. So here's the rub. We don't really look at. So if we're looking at health code, the health code is separate from city ordinance. It's separate from our purview. We can work with the health agent. We appoint, well, not our committee, but the city council appoints the board of health. But we don't set any of the Board of Health standards. That's through the state DPH. That's not unless we did a specific city ordinance, but that would be ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, really, within that we could definitely, if the health agent had an issue, she could come. Like we could work with her to try to, but like we don't set any Board of Health codes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that necessarily fits there, or.
Well, it does sound like the area of responsibility is public health because this is public safety. And
Public safety,
health is
yeah,
part of
absolutely.
public health. So when it says health and wellness programs and code enforcement, how do you think that language should change to reflect what you're saying?
I think working with the health agent in matters that affect public health.
I was wondering about even the health system from the first sentence. Seemed new to me from past meetings and the old missions of the United States state.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what health systems do we coordinate and oversee?
Right.
Directly.
Like
It's the three of us.
Right. So, I mean, that's
Is-
kind of the question. Are we going with like what we've done historically or what, public safety committees across Massachusetts actually do for work?
I thought it was more of just our role. What's the role in East Hampton of this committee based on our rules and
Mhm.
everything else?
Yeah. So
And
do
I was
we-
looking at it like what our role should be compared to like the way other municipalities are set up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it doesn't hurt to say, well, what could potentially be a function of our subcommittee?
That's something we
Um,
talked about in property.
But I think that should be tempered with, so what potentially could we help administrate, or how could we be helpful to the city to make things function more effectively?
Mm-hmm.
And temper that with what is realistically within our capacity, and our jurisdiction.
Right,
What
so
can we
this is a
do?
list of area of responsibilities. So the first one we have is police, which I think we're all okay with.
Yep.
Fire,
Yep.
Neighborhood parks, which I didn't think was really,
So that, I would say that would be, like, coordination with the recreation department, as opposed to just saying parks, because this isn't a park,
Mhm.
but there could be things that affect public safety there that might come to us,
so
potentially.
leave neighborhood parks in there.
Or expand it to be like,
Neighborhood parks and public
spaces.
spaces. Okay, so then we have buildings, and I think that has to do with, public safety as far as buildings that were like abandoned or falling down or have,
Which would that be more property?
I would think it'd be more property.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we need.
Because, like, if
Yeah,
a house is
property
gonna get
kind of-
condemned, that goes through building inspector, fire department,
Health inspector.
and the health inspector, so, like, that's
And
a
if it's
coordination
condemned,
of
it's kind of a
roles.
public safety issue, so I was a little on the
Yeah.
fence about that one.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't, cause I know.
So it's building, safety, engineering, and environmental.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's just the areas of responsibility that much, it's like, we're not responsible for any buildings. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
That's not our area of
Right.
responsibility.
Right, and
It's just
nobody-
Public.
So let's get rid of buildings and keep the safety, engineering, and environment, because that would fall
Yeah, that
under
can-
us.
Definitely.
Recreation programs, I didn't think so.
I don't
I
think
mean,
so.
we have the Healthy Youth Coalition that kind of takes care of the.
Well, and recreation programs would fall under Park and Rec, you know.
I think so too.
So, and that's their, like, we don't, like, no other committee really, other than assessors, has, like, jurisdiction to, supervise or
Right.
control a city department, really, you know.
So senior services, kind of the same reaction that we had to youth.
Senior services?
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah, services, I think maybe, like, issues that affect seniors that are around public safety, I think could come to this committee.
But I didn't think any of those ones centered around age. We don't do anything that specific.
Specific, right.
It's public,
Exactly.
it's gonna affect
Right.
anybody that comes along.
Right.
Right.
So I think when we say public safety and health systems, it kind of covers that.
So you're knocking out rec programs, youth services, senior services.
Yeah, I'm about to look at health and
That's right.
wellness programs. I kind of like the idea of leaving it in there. I mean, if we addressed or at least promoted some of the things that our health inspector is doing, she
Mhm.
does a lot of like smoking cessation, we have fewer shots, we have this, or it's something where we could have more of a informational role rather
Mhm.
than like making a determination. You
Yeah.
know, if we coordinated more with the health inspector to be like, hey, what do you have going on? At our next meeting, we can say like, public safety,
So
these are some of the
so
health things.
coordination with the health inspector or the health
Well, it says
department?
health and wellness programs, and we could just write promotion or awareness. If you guys would be okay with that.
Coordination of health and wellness programs and awareness? Is that?
So do we take coordination though out? Or
I just added, I don't know where I heard it, unless I made it up.
It's in another sentence. So right now I have the committee's area of responsibility includes police, fire, neighborhood parks and public spaces, safety, engineering, and environmental, health and wellness, program awareness is what I was gonna write.
Okay.
There's code enforcement, but I agree with you, I don't think that falls under us.
I don't think that, I mean, yeah.
So I'm gonna take that out. Public works and engineering, that's been historically part of
Yeah.
public safety
Yep.
anyway. Municipal parking, public lighting, and emergency services.
Okay.
So I guess I would suggest that the committee's area of responsibility gets replaced with the current language of,
Including but not limited to?
and what I really like about this is including and not limited to, and matters related to public safety which come before the council for action.
Oh, that
Mhm.
makes,
Kind of
yeah.
saves us
Yeah.
from saying, all right, now we're in charge of DPW, we're in charge of health
Yeah,
department.
yeah,
we're in
yeah,
charge-" We're
exactly.
not
It's
saying that, we're
matters
saying
that come
when this comes to the
before.
council, this is
Right.
the subcommittee that should get it.
That's true. That is true.
You know what I mean?
I I agree with that.
This is, it just, I'd be more comfortable with that. So strange, 96, they make the one for public safety, 97, they make one for rules.
Right.
And then it's 20 years later, they say, wait, what about these other
Yeah.
committees?
Well,
I mean,
I mean,
what
that was 2 years after the council started, so they must have just, you know.
Was it 96 the first year?
I think it was 95.
95?
It was either not.
So sometime that first year, somebody said, all right, what are we doing over here in public safety?
Let's start getting these two. We'll get started with these, and we'll get the next ones later.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, so when we did that meeting, and we were running through the rules and regs with everybody, it was like, why doesn't everybody have like what the role of what their subcommittee does? Which is where this whole thing kind of stems from.
And that's another reason I don't want to put in extra stuff, you know.
Yeah.
That it's coming from that
I can already
orientation
tell you,
meeting.
this is like a third of what property is put together. So we have the mission of the East Hampton Public Safety Subcommittee is to provide a democratic and transparent manner, coordination, and oversight of the intersection of public safety and health systems, and shall have jurisdiction over all matters relating to public safety which come before the council for action, including but not limited to police, fire, neighborhood parks, and public spaces, safety, engineering, environmental health and wellness program, awareness, public works and engineering, municipal parking, public lighting, and emergency services. Let's see. I notice how gross your computer is until you have somebody else looking at it. It's like, yeah, you can tell I've been doing 12 hours a day on this baby for the past week.
Health and wellness program awareness is just so different than everything else.
It
It is a
is.
little different, and it's not something, you know how it's different too. It's not something that necessarily would come before the council.
Yep.
That we would be, it's something that we would have to like
Seek out.
seek out. So.
But you're thinking like PR kind of stuff? Is that what?
I think.
Yeah, just to like, throw the health inspector a little bit of a bone. They do a ton of work down there, and any kind of like promotion they can get is good. I'm removing it. I agree with you guys. I think it's something that we should let
We
the,
should do as
we should just let her
individual
know,
councils.
be like, hey, when we
But-
do our public safety updates at city council, is there anything you'd like us to mention
Right.
as part of public safety?
It could also be part of the vice president's role, since I'm so busy as the vice president that there
wouldn't
isn't.
wanna
Do we need to
tell us,
write
you
rules
know?
of public, rules of the vice president?
Yeah, right. So maybe that's the kind of thing that because I do a correspondence update,
Mhm.
and that could be one of the pieces.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be valuable. So.
I think there's definitely a way to get some of the other departments in City Hall to be, to bring information so that, we can help them with those types of
Mhm.
things. That was one of the things that I asked Joe when people were doing like district reports. Like I try to do like this, these are things that are happening in District 2 or things that I've heard about, just to kind of get other city councilors like engaged with what's happening.
Mhm.
Because it's really easy to just have nothing happen in 2 weeks, nothing happen in 2 weeks, and it's like, we actually have a job.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think that would be great. Anything where we can bring in more information and make what work that we're doing, relevant would help me sleep at night. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Are you all right with that?
And
The
now,
other thing is if we want to revisit the democratic and transparent manner.
Right.
if-
well, and
We both mentioned it, but we don't know if that's the appropriate place for it.
True. I mean, it seems like it doesn't necessarily have to be.
It doesn't add anything to the rule. It's something that should be happening anyway, should be happening throughout all the city council rules.
Right. And the next page is video recording, committee reports. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, but I was kind of looking at all of these and the way that we did ordinances. It's a rough draft, and then once it goes to rules and they take a look at it, make suggestions. I was
I
thinking
hope they make
would,
them all kind of congruent.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah,
makes,
me
Well,
too.
I
and
really hope that happens.
And I was thinking that if they put them in
I
a
can't
standardized
say.
form, you know, like a bulleted kind of list, or you know, and make them succinct, I think that would be good. So I looked at mine as a rough draft, going to rules, and then the final draft is the one we vote on. You know,
Mhm.
so I mean, if that's something that that's something that we can decide, you know, after.
And I'm not losing any sleep over it.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
think we do things democratically and transparently. So,
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
I just want to.
So I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me just because I don't necessarily feel like this is the final draft, but you know, either way.
So what's the vote? Did we just vote on moving this forward to?
We just, and we didn't even vote on it, but I don't think we
No,
just.
no, no, that's what I'm asking. It's like,
So we don't need to take action on this as a vote, since this is just,
okay,
it's an internal report.
right.
But I think eventually the full council will need to vote to accept these
On
to
the
our rules.
description.
Yeah, it's going to come out of the rules stuff.
Yeah.
It was never officially put on this year.
Right.
Oops.
Yeah, is it on our agenda? Like on the.
We put it on, but I don't think it never got specifically moved to
Moved
each
to,
one. It
yeah.
got moved to rules, and then from them, they said, all right, here's what we need.
Here's where we need this one.
So we can just forward this along, and
Yeah.
I think it's a great improvement from the '96 one, and,
Yeah.
from all the different drafts, thanks for putting all these different drafts together.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, thank you, you're welcome. That's no problem. Okay, so,
And if you could email it to me, I'll throw it on minutes.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna email it right now.
We don't have any other business, do we?
No, I just wanted us to have one
Get out
thing.
into the
that
sun
I-
before it goes in.
That's what I was thinking. Even though I have a feeling I'm probably gonna have to end up taking my daughter to practice tonight, so means I'm gonna have to sit in the gym again. I really want to get out on my bike. She plays basketball.
Basketball?
Yeah.
In the spring?
Yeah,
Get
she
her
plays.
in softball?
She's playing AAU. Yeah, and she's Oh, that's my wife. You guys mind excusing me? Here, let's
No,
see.
no.
Hello. Hey. Oh, well, I'm done with my meeting. So if you need me to, are you out of work? Okay. Oh, right. Oh, that's good. Yeah, they would have been like, what?
It's
gift
not
card?
really a mission statement, is it?
It's
Yeah,
the
okay,
oldest
so I can
rule
head home in a minute and we
of
can just go.
safety.
Okay. Do you have clients? Or whatever, I mean, okay, whatever. Either, yeah, if they're busy, that's fine, you can stay, I'll just go get Chloe.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
That's
Those
phone
in
call on
favor?
TV.
Sure. Okay,